Welcome to the Stepmom Side with Alicia, the podcast for stepmoms ready to create the life they want and one they actually have a say in. Here we talk all things stepmom life and just a little bit more. Leave the superficial conversations at the door and get ready for perspective shifts and actionable advice to help you on your way to creating the life you want, one step at a time. Let's be real. If you've ever said you're over something that your partner did, but then it pops out mid-argument like a grenade, this episode is for you. Welcome back to the Stepmom Side podcast. I'm Alicia, your host, and we're going to talk about what to do when you can't get over your partner's past, but then also how to stop throwing it in their face, because that's totally something that I have done. And, like when you catch yourself bringing something up, like in an old heated argument, like something that I would do would be like, oh my gosh, and we would be having an argument about whatever it was. And I'd be like, well, you were the one that did this. Like, you were the one that had been married before and had kids before. And like, how unfair is that? Because my husband didn't originally get married for the first time thinking that he would be getting a divorce, or had kids with his first wife thinking that he would be getting a divorce and then having kids, or a kid, like with me, right? So let me just normalize this for you. Every stepmom I know has a love-hate relationship with their partner's past. You want to be over it, but the reminders keep showing up in your face. Literally. Like the kids' faces, family photos, the ex, holidays, even maybe the house that you live in. And so here's my promise to you. By the end of this episode, you'll have a roadmap to stop fighting yesterday's or years ago battles so you can actually build the future that you want. So here's why the past feels so present. Actually, before I get into that for you, here's why I'm having this podcast episode, or putting this one out. I have been talking a lot about this in coaching calls. Of the last 5 coaching calls I've had, 3 of the stepmoms have been talking like, I cannot get over the past. I cannot get over the past. I cannot get over the past. What in the world? Also in the Stepmom Side community, we've been talking about this. And 2 stepmoms recently have messaged me about this on Instagram. And I'm like, what in the world is going on? So let's talk about why the past still feels present. It's your brain in a safety response. And I talked about this in the last episode too. When you don't feel safe, your brain grabs onto proof from the past to defend you. So this might sound familiar from the spiraling episode. You go to aliciacrasco.com/111. I talk all about spiraling and how to stop spiraling. And now let's talk about getting over the past, because that's something specific that I've been asked about. But again, when you don't feel safe, your brain grabs onto proof from the past to defend you, right? It's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Man, I sound like, oh my gosh, I sound like my husband, because he used to say that to me all the time. Like, oh yeah, because I would be like, this is going to happen and that's going to happen. I'm sure you've done this too. And then it does happen and he's like, okay, so it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. I'm like, ugh. But I mean, he was right. So it almost feels like the past is ammunition because it's already proven that this is going to happen, right? Kind of like the last minute schedule changes, like the barrage of text message, the last minute, we need to drop this off or that off or whatever it is. It's just a safety response. And so here's why it triggers your stepfamily, or here's why you have these stepfamily triggers, because the ex still exists in your life. And I'll tell you this, it is the hardest thing to try to navigate healing through something when you constantly have to keep dealing with it, right? It's hard to let your hand heal from touching a hot stove when you have to keep touching the hot stove. Kind of the same principle here. It's hard to get over something when you have daily reminders or daily interactions or weekly or monthly or whatever it looks like in your situation. But it's like, how do I heal from this when I still have to keep doing it? And it's part of the messy middle, right? And so it's really hard. So give yourself a bit of grace here. And also the kids are a constant reminder that your partner had a whole different family, a whole different life before you. And you're like, great, that's really great. And you're like, yes, I love my partner. Yes, I want to stay in this relationship. Yes, I want to be here. Yes, I'm choosing this. Sometimes I question why, but I'm choosing this. But still, it's really freaking hard when you've got these constant reminders. Again, whether it's text messages, emails, interactions, or just seeing the kids, especially if they look like their mom, it's really freaking hard to navigate. And then add in, like, if you've got extended family that sometimes still treat the kids as mom as part of like the fold or like part of the family or very inclusive, like all of the things. For whatever reason, it feels like a competition of like, okay, if they like her, they can't like me, right? And so those stepfamily triggers are very activating, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I feel like I can't get away from this. Again, back to the whole like, I have to keep touching the stove, but I'm trying to heal my hand. So then there's like an identity and kind of like a comparison. I did kind of touch on this, but feeling like you'll never be first. You're not the first marriage. You're not the first fiance. You're not the first wife. You're not the first mom, that your partner has made. This isn't your first house. This isn't the first time you've traveled. It's like all of the firsts, right? Like it's so much. But then also like you're not getting those first, but then you also feel like I will never come first. Like my stepkids come first. The ex come first, like all of these things. And you're just like, where do I fall in this lineup? Like I'm like number 4, number 5, maybe like number 10. I don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. And then you find yourself comparing yourself to a ghost of their past. And here's what I want to remind you. When you find pictures, when you find letters, emails, text messages, diaries, whatever it is that you find, what you see in those exchanges or words, that was somebody that's not present day. So that was somebody from years ago, and their relationship years ago is vastly different than what it is today. And sometimes I think this helps too, is can you imagine your partner saying or writing the things that your partner said or wrote however long ago? No, absolutely not. So don't compare yourself or your relationship to that past. One time my in-laws, we'd gone to their house and there was a letter that they had found that my husband had sent them when he was in the military. And they were like, oh yeah, we found this letter, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, can I read it? Mistake number 1. I was like, can I read it? And then I read it and I was like, yeah, I could never have read that letter and like I would have been okay. Because at the time, him and my stepkids' mom were just dating, and so there was information there about her and like how wonderful she was and all of the things. And I was like, that sucks. Like that hurts to hear, right? Like their relationship was just blossoming, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so awkward. And so everyone's watching me and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so awkward. And I'm like, okay, we just fold this letter back up and give it back to you guys. Sorry. And then my husband obviously knew it wasn't a letter because he had read it too, and he was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. That's so awkward. And I'm like, yeah, it was really awkward, but it's fine. Like, whatever. You have a past. That was then, and that's not now. So it's totally fine. It's just one of those things where it's like, sometimes it feels really heavy. And if you've been here for a while, you know that I spent like the first year of my marriage like Googling how to get divorced because the reminders felt too heavy. And I got caught in these spirals of like, I'm never going to be enough. Like it's never going to measure up, like all of the things. It's a lot. So let's talk about why there is a cost and what that cost is of holding on to the past. There's trust erosion there, like with your partner. And here's what that means. Your partner feels like no matter what they do, they can't win. Kind of like, how you feel like no matter what you do as a stepmom, like you can't win. Like if you're an amazing stepmom, it's too much. If you're not a good stepmom, it's not enough. Like all of the things, like you feel like you can't win. And you get in this like cycle of resentment. Like you fight, the past gets brought up, there's guilt, there's temporary peace, and then we repeat the cycle. And so your partner feels downtrodden, probably like you do too, and about like your own situation, but we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about this part. But your partner feels like no matter what they do, they can't win because it's this cycle. And again, that cycle is you get into a fight about A, and then you bring up something from like the past, so B, and then you feel guilty about it, there's temporary peace, and then we just repeat it. And so it's an energy drain for you. You're living in a story that's already finished. Instead of creating new chapters. Like, you are so caught up in whatever it was that they did. And listen, girlfriend, like, this is no shame to you, because I was right there with you, like, had shirts made for us and we were like riding at dawn. But you're living in a story that no longer exists. Like, that story is finished. That part isn't happening anymore. There's a new book that's been written and it's got you in it. And you could be working on creating new chapters, but instead of doing that, you're like, let me keep going back and like rereading this other book. Why? What are you doing? You're never going to be able to get out of that. And here's the thing. Knowledge is power as a stepmom, except for in this situation. You don't need to keep going back and like asking the questions or like keep going over everything. Or think about this. Like, if the tables were turned and your partner was doing the exact same thing to you that you were doing to them, would you like it? Absolutely not. You would hate it. So don't continue living in a story that's already finished. Go create new chapters in your own book. Go rewrite your own story, however you thought it was going to be. Obviously, that's not how it turned out, because no one wants to be a stepmom when they grow up. But here we are. So go write new chapters. And here's the future impact for you two. You and your partner can't fully bond if the past is always being pulled into the room. You and your partner can't fully bond if the past is always being pulled into the room. And I'm just going to give you a little bit of real talk here. If you are constantly bringing up the past, any chance that you get, whether it's a fight, whether it's, just in passing, at some point, this like hurts my heart to tell you, but I'm just going to level with you and be honest. At some point, your partner's probably going to start to think, why am I here? Why am I even trying to have a relationship with her? All she's doing is bringing up the past anytime things get hard. I don't want to go and read that story again or go live in that story again. But she seems to be obsessed with, for lack of a better word, with that story. Rather than doing that, maybe I'll just end this relationship. And that sucks to hear, but honestly, like, that's the reality of the situation. You guys aren't going to get any closer if there's that fear of having the past always pulled in. I mean, I would feel that too. And so it's not, again, it goes back to, if your partner was doing to you what you were doing to them, would you like it? Would you stay? And that's a question that I've asked the stepmoms that I've been in coaching with. Like, if the tables were turned, would you stay? And they're like, absolutely not. I feel like a psycho, but I don't know how to stop. And it's like, yeah, I get it. Like, I live that too. Before we get into like how to start getting over it, let me just do this reframe for you. The more you punish your partner for the past, because that's what it is, the more you punish your partner for the past, the less space there is to create something new. Full stop. The more you punish your partner for the past, the less space there is to create something new. That sucks. Okay, let's talk about how to start getting over it. So notice the trigger in real time. So I'll give you a few examples, like while we're working through this. You feel jealous when you hear about a family memory. Something like from a holiday or a birthday party or maybe like a trip they took or whatever it is. I'm going to give you like coaching prompts like throughout these next few things. So number one, notice the trigger in real time. The example I'm going to give you is you feel jealous when you hear about a family memory. The coaching prompt I'm going to give you is, what am I actually afraid of right now? What am I actually afraid of right now? So when you hear about a family memory, what are you afraid of? For me, it was like when I heard about the past, it was like, oh, I don't matter because they already have all of these other memories. Because people can't make new memories? I don't know. No, absolutely not. Like, to me, I was like, this is ridiculous. Of course we can make new memories. We could go to the same place and make new memories. It's not going to be the same thing. Number two, separate the past from the present. Remind yourself, that happened then. Right now, I'm here. That happened then, right now, I'm here. And so your coaching prompt for this one is, what evidence do I have that things are different now? You guys get along really well. Maybe you live like in your dream house. Maybe you have, I don't know, whatever it is that you have. I'm just blanked out there for a second. Like, I don't even know, but what evidence do you have that things are different now? Number 3, journaling or the X-Files. I did a podcast episode about this too, and that is a couple back. I think it's 110. Number 3, journaling or the X-Files. I did just do a podcast episode about this. Episode number 110, the secret journal every stepmom should have. So instead of dumping on your partner, put it in your notes or put it in a journal. And I've said this so many times, your partner does not need, but more importantly, deserve to know every single thing that you think. A lot of times, girlfriend, it is not helpful. It's not helpful for you just to unload about whatever you think of their past or whatever you think of the ex or whatever you think of the kids, the situation, your in-laws. Like, what, it doesn't help. It's not helpful. So you might not need to say it out loud, but sometimes you just need to process. So your journaling prompt for this would be, what do I just need to process? And like write out whatever it is. So instead of dumping on your partner, put it in your notes or a journal, not in your partner. Number 4, choose your future over your fear. This one's a little bit of a visualization exercise. Actually, it's not a little bit, it is. What do you want your relationship, your marriage, your house, what your life to feel like in 5 years? So here's your coaching prompt for this one. If I keep bringing this up, do I get closer to that vision or farther? Your coaching prompt for this one, choosing your future over your fear, is if I keep bringing this up, do I get closer to that vision or farther? Number 5, forgiveness versus boundaries. Forgiveness is you releasing yourself from carrying the anger. Forgiveness is not for the other person. It is 100% for you. So you're like, I could never forgive them for what they did. Okay, guess what? She's walking around not caring. You, my friend, are drinking poison and expecting her to die. Forgiveness is not for her. She doesn't even know. Like, you don't have to go and be like, I forgive you. Forgiveness is for you. It's you releasing yourself from carrying the anger. Again, what do you want your marriage, relationship, house, whatever, to feel like in 5 years? Do you want to be this bitter lady because you're carrying all this anger? No. Forgiveness is for you. Boundaries, how you protect yourself moving forward. And I just want to differentiate boundaries versus expectations. An expectation is what you think that someone else should do. No. We're not going to put an expectation on someone else. We are going to set a boundary for myself. And I recently saw one that was really good. An expectation would look like, don't text me after 10 p.m. Or I expect you not to text me after 10 p.m. No, we can't control other people. A boundary is, I don't answer text messages after 9 p.m. So you can text, that's fine. But I just won't respond until tomorrow morning at whatever time. So setting expectations in my house gave me relief and space to understand like where everyone fit in, where I had control, because really that's what it comes down to, right? Like there's so much control that we don't have that we want. Understanding like how I wanted our house to be ran. It was so much better to just have expectations in our house. And I think this helps because it's like, okay, this is what we came up with together, and it's something that they didn't have or they didn't do. And you're like, okay, we're going to do our house completely different. And I want you to shift, number 6, I want you to shift the self-talk. I want you to go from, I'll never measure up, to I am the present, I am the future. And here's a question that I want you to ask yourself when you're feeling like I'll never measure up. Who is your partner with? Who is your partner with? Who is your partner sleeping next to every night? Who is your partner kissing first thing in the morning, or kissing goodnight, or having dinner with, or building a life with? Not her. You. Not her. You. Every day your partner is choosing you. Every day your partner is choosing to continue on this path with you. And here's what I want to tell you. Oh wait, actually before I move on to the next part. So here's how to start getting over it. I'll just give you like a really quick recap on this. Number 1, notice the trigger in real time. When you feel jealous or you hear about a family memory, your coaching prompt is, what am I actually afraid of right now? And something else that will really help you with this is, even like especially in arguments, is when you there's a lot to this. So I'm thinking like, okay, I do have a stressor freebie on this. That's really great. I will link it in the show notes, but it gets you to like slow down the thought process of like what you do, how that hurts the situation, why it doesn't help, your new thing, and then like why that works. Like when you can notice the trigger in real time, you're like, shucks, I'm like, I need to break this cycle, or I need to choose something smarter, or I need to do a better job of whatever. Noticing the trigger in real time will help you in so many ways. So number 1, notice the trigger in real time. Number 2, separate the past from present. That happened then. Here's where I am right now. Number 3, journaling or the X-Files. Instead of dumping on your partner, put it in your notes or journal. Again, your partner doesn't need to know every single thing that you think, and they also don't deserve to know every single thing that you think. Number 4, choose your future over your fear. What do you want your marriage, relationship, house to feel like in 5 years? Maybe it's even in 6 months, something a lot closer. Like, what do you want it to feel like next week? And if you keep bringing these things up, are you getting closer to that vision, or are you getting farther from that vision? Number 5, forgiveness versus boundaries. Forgiveness is for you. You're releasing yourself from carrying the anger. Boundaries is how you protect yourself moving forward. And then number 6, shift the self-talk from I'll never measure up to I am the present and the future. So here's the thing. You are not in competition with your partner's past. You are their present and their future. Something my husband used to say to me, which I like never believed until I did, was you don't have competition. Your only competition was who you were yesterday. So you're not in competition with your partner's past. Just remember that. It's normal to feel jealous or insecure, but your power is in what you do with those feelings. It's normal to feel jealous or insecure, but your power is in what you do with those things. So if you feel jealous or insecure and you are cranky, maybe you're a little bit bitchy or irritable, whatever, why? Again, why are you punishing your partner for their past? They can't change it. And instead of like, again, walking around in that story, there's literally nothing you can do to change the past. That already happened. We can accept that we're deciding to stay in this relationship and be like, okay, I'm choosing to stay here. Since I'm choosing to stay here, this is what this looks like. You can choose to leave. If you choose to leave, okay, fine. But don't be a cranky person about it. That was my breakthrough too. Like when my husband said to me, do you accept being a stepmom? Yeah, duh, of course. And I've talked about this on here before too. And I said, no, really accepted. And I was like, oh, no, actually, I've just been cranky. Sorry, that's not very nice. I shouldn't have done that. And that was like when I was like, okay, I'm choosing to stay. Not against my will. Like I'm choosing to stay because I want to choose to stay. Why am I so pissed about it? What is happening? So here's my invite to you. Look at your resentment of your partner's past and like the frustration that comes with that as a signal, not as a life sentence. If you can figure out what your resentment is trying to tell you, because it's trying to tell you something. Resentment is a blanket emotion for fear, for anger, sadness. There's always something going on underneath of it. If you can figure out like why that's happening, That's where the real like breakthrough comes through. So if you can figure out like, okay, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling angry, I'm feeling, insert whatever emotion that you're feeling. I don't know, I'm not you, and I'm not exactly sure on what specifically about your partner's past is like pissing you off, besides all the things. If you can figure out like why this is happening, and you can get really curious about why, just ask why until you can't ask why anymore, then you'll have a pretty good indication of like why this keeps happening, why you keep holding on to it. But let me ask you this. What point are you trying to prove by throwing your partner's past in their face? What good does that do? It doesn't help at all. Literally, it does not help at all. They already feel guilty about it. They don't want to be in this situation trying to navigate an ex and kids and then like all of the stuff that it causes with you. They don't want to do it either. But here we are. Present day, we're here. So please stop throwing it in their face. So a quick recap. Why the past sticks is because you have reminders of the past walking around in your house all of the time. Even if you don't see the ex, you have it all of the time. And the cost of holding on to it, of like the anger of like your partner's past, is your partner feels like no matter what they do, they can't win. And you already know that that's a shitty cycle to be in. And now you're putting your partner in that cycle. It super sucks. I'm going to give you tips to help you words are hard today. Tips on how to start getting over it. So notice the trigger in real time, separate the past from the present, do some journaling, maybe make an X-Files on your phone, choose your future over your fear, forgiveness versus boundaries, shift the self-talk. You are the present and the future. Now remember, you don't have to live in the shadows of what came before you. You get to create a marriage, a relationship, or a family, if that's what you decide to do, that feels safe and joyful now and going forward. You don't have to live in those shadows. But sometimes we get so locked up of, like, we can't see the forest through the trees. My husband used to say that to me all the time. You can't see the forest through the trees. He's like, you've climbed this tree and you are holding on for dear life. Why do you do that? I'm like, I don't know. I'm trying to stop. But I finally don't do that anymore. But here's the thing. You don't have to do this alone. You can come join us inside the Stepmom Side community. If you head to aliciacrosco.com/community, there's all sorts of support in there, even when you start to spiral about the past. Or if you want to go deeper with one-to-one support, come join me for a coaching session, aliciacrosco.com/coaching. If you are a member of the Stepmom Side community, you do get a 20% discount on coaching. Just an FYI. You get a discount on coaching if you are a Stepmom Side community member. But I will chat with you next week. Thanks for taking time to listen to this week's episode. If anything was helpful or resonated with you, please share it on social media and tag me. I'm just at Alicia Crosco. And if you could leave a 5-star rating and a review while you're at it, that would also be really helpful. And if you find yourself struggling with your stepmom journey and you want a little bit more support without the hefty price tag of coaching, you might want to check out the Stepmom Side community, which is my own private community for stepmoms, where you get to connect with other stepmoms around the world and myself, where I hold weekly office hours and monthly group coaching. It's kind of like you have your own personal coach in your own back pocket. Again, without that hefty price tag. See you next week.